quickly, the 2022 NBA draft has just been concluded. Well, the first round, Pablo Banquero goes number 1, Chet Holmgren to OKC number 2, Houston gets Jabari Smith, and Sac gets Keegan Murray. Now we got Detroit Pistons picking up Jaden Ivey, and I love that pick. I love that pick for Detroit, pairing him next to Cade Cunningham. That is going to be a dynamic duo. It was a few surprises in the first round of this draft, man. And I would have to say that one of the biggest ones for me was the fact that Ty Washington slipped all the way down the draft to the number 29 selection. Patrick Baldwin Jr. was the 28th selection. And those were some very, very big surprises for me. I thought Ty Washington brought more value with his ability to distribute the ball, his playmaking ability, his IQ on the court. I felt like Ty Washington was at least a top 15 selection. Now, I believe that there were 3 clear-cut winners in this year's first round of the draft, but most people would think that the Orlando Magic won the draft, getting Pablo Banquero at number 1. I just feel like Orlando's going to find a way to mess this up like they always do. Now, my first biggest winner would have to be the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Oklahoma City Thunder were very, very aggressive in this draft, trading to get the number 11 overall pick by way of New York, trading for 3 future firsts coming by way of Detroit, Denver, and Washington to acquire the big man / guard from overseas, Ousmane Dieng. Ousmane Dieng at this point, in my eyes, is a project player that is going to take at least 3 seasons to get to his full potential. Now, OKC does have that time to waste. They also acquired Jalen Williams out of Santa Cruz, and this man I really, really like. I felt like Jalen Williams has the highest potential to pan out to be a really good player outside of the top 10 that was selected. I feel like his change of pace, as well as his ability to read the floor, his IQ, I feel like he has that elite IQ, that Chris Paul-like IQ on the court. I feel like he's going to be great in the pick and roll. And as we all know, the NBA is a pick and roll league. I feel like the man is very crafty with his handle. He's very crafty overall, and he's just going to be a good player, man. This was a nice selection at 12. I liked it better than the selection ahead of this one that they selected at 11, Ousmane Dieng, because I feel like Ousmane Dieng has a very high potential to be a bust. But I could be wrong. You know, he's a 6'10 guy, can handle the rock. So he has the ability to see over defenses and transition. So, I mean, that could offer some value. But at the end of the day, the NBA is getting bigger. A lot of these 6'10 guys are coming in with the ability to handle rock. We've seen a lot of 7-footers, i.e. the Thunder's 2nd overall pick in Chet Holmgren, which we all predicted was going to happen. I believe the NBA world already knew that OKC was in love with Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren was in love with OKC. Match made in heaven from an actual mutual love for each other standpoint. Now, I do believe that this man, Chet Holmgren, has a high risk of being a bust, man. A lot of these 7-footers with the ability to handle the rock, they do not pan out in the long run. You would say Kristaps Porzingis, but he eventually withered away very quickly. You know, Kristaps Porzingis is looking like a shell of himself due to all of the injuries that he's been through over the past few years, man. And that shows you that at that height and doing as much as these guys are doing, it could really take a lot of wear and tear on your body, and they don't last very long. So he might start out being a decent player, but how long will it last, man? There's so many question marks around these 7-footers. They already have a project 7-footer in Aleksej Pokusevski. So are they going to give up on him at this point, or are you running some type of skinny man twin tower lineup that is going to be bigger than all the rest of the opponents that you go up against? I mean, I don't know. But what I do know is that 11 and 12 selection has me thinking that, because we know about all of the reports and what Shadon Sharpe said out of his own mouth, he wants to go to OKC. And OKC having that mutual longing for Shadon Sharpe, which I'm sure, you know, all the NBA teams wanted a Shadon Sharpe, a former number 1 overall high school player. Of course, they all want the talent, man. But him being the most unknown in the draft, not playing for Kentucky last year, choosing to opt out of that situation, that pushed a lot of teams away, man. He probably would have ended up being the #1 overall pick and probably has the highest ceiling in this draft. But he ultimately landed in the hands of Portland, which is not ideal for Portland, being in a situation where they're trying to build a contender around Damian Lillard. Now, if they were building for the future, him and Anthony Simons, that'd be a great duo in the future. But with the trade for Jeremy Grant, that shows that Portland is trying to build a contender, and I don't feel as though an unknown like Shaedon Sharpe is the route that you would go. Unless, hear me out, family, you had a potential suitor in the Oklahoma City Thunder who drafted the guys that you were eyeing around that range. You got both of them, Ousmane Dieng and Jalen Williams. And now the trade can be centered around Lu Dort. And I know that's not a trade that a lot of Oklahoma City Thunder fans really want to hear, Lu Dort leaving Oklahoma City. But Thunder fans, you do have to give up value to get value. And I feel like Shaedon Sharpe could potentially have the highest ceiling out of every single one of those prospects, including an already proven player in Lu Dort. We know that he's a defensive ace. We know that he might be a top 5 defender in the league as of right now. But what you're getting is a potential transcendent talent in Shaedon Sharpe. And you already have a key piece to back it up in Chet Holmgren. So I feel like this is a trade that could be on the radar right now. A Shaedon Sharpe for 11-12 pick and Lu Dort, man. I feel like that gets the deal done. And if you even throw in a piece like I say Alexei Pokusevski, just to sweeten it, another player with a very high upside if he does pan out, which Poku looks like he can play in the pick and roll, and he's a very good passer, man. So now you have a package that is great for Portland and OKC. Portland gets their value. They get to build for the future while also being in win now mode. Anthony Simons, Lu Dort, Lillard, and Jeremy Grant. That's a good start. That's a good start. It'd probably be one piece away, and they could use some of those assets they acquired to go ahead and trade and try to get another player or keep that for the future. Now, let's go ahead and move on to my second team, because my second team would have to be the Detroit Pistons. Detroit Pistons were aggressive in this draft as well. They first got a blessing in Jaden the Flash Ivey. That man is the Flash, man. The way he comes down the court, it shows that he's out of that family of Russell Westbrook, Derrick Rose, Jabari, explosive guards who love to punch you in your mouth. They love to come and, make highlight reel dunks, and just, man, extremely athletic, man. I feel like his IQ on the passing end has to increase, but you can see the actual spurts of him and what he's been working on, man. And over the summer, I'm sure he's tried to increase that to become more of a Ja Morant type of player, man. You might have a Ja Morant 2.0, so that's a win in itself, man. At number 5, you got a possible #1 overall selection talent, so that's a win, man. But not to mention the fact that they also made a trade which involved New York and Charlotte to get the number 13 overall pick to acquire Jalen Duren. And I really, really love this move, man. Jalen Duren is going to be a very, very key piece of their future. He's going to be a very, very good presence down low as a big man. And I just feel like, man, this was a true W for Detroit. Now you guys have someone in the front court that can complement the talents of Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham. You can put Killian Hayes on the bench where he belongs. Keep him there, man, because I feel like Killian Hayes is never going to be a star or a starter. From what I've seen, he is not an NBA starter, man. But the third team I believe is a winner is the Houston Rockets. They picked up the guy that I felt OKC should have grabbed at 2, the guy that Orlando should have definitely grabbed at 1, and Jabari Smith, being a 40+% shooter from 3, the defensive IQ that the man has, his ability to move his feet, man. Like, I understand the woes at the rim. That's really nothing when you're talking a 6'10" Klay Thompson, man. He can shoot from anywhere on the court, man. If you're talking about step back threes, he can do that. If you're talking about pull-ups, he can do that. If you're talking about spot ups, he can do that. And he's only going to be a very high floor player. His three-point shot is already there. His defense is already there. He's already a good player. Not even playing an NBA game yet. All his major talents, that's translatable to the NBA. His three-point shooting and his defense. Come on, man. Like there is no bust potential in my eyes whatsoever when you're talking about Jabari Smith, man. He's just a safe pick. And when it comes to Paulo Banquero, you don't know what he's going to be because at every level, he's been bigger, stronger than every player that's on the court at every level that he's been on. But going into the NBA, he will not have that advantage. So we don't know what Paulo Banquero will pan out to be. Then you look at Chet Holmgren. His biggest asset is the shot blocking and defense in the paint. But will that defensive ability be there when you're talking about going up against bigger, stronger centers and forwards down low? I just don't see him being able to have that defensive upside. Yeah, he might have a few blocks, maybe one per game, but I don't see that his frame being able to put on a lot of mass and the mass that he needs to be down low battling like he's supposed to. I don't feel like Chet Holmgren is ever going to be a high-level scorer. I feel like at his best, he may be 18 points per game, which is decent. It's very, very good, man. But when we talking about these number 1, 2, 3 selections, you're looking for a generational talent, man. These selections only come around every so often, but don't get it twisted. That does not mean that I don't like Paulo or Chet and I don't feel that they're going to be good. I do feel like they're going to be great players, but I don't feel like they have the upside that Jabari has. And that's the reason why I feel like Houston is a winner in this draft. You got the key player that you needed to pair up with Kevin Porter Jr. and Jalen Green. Now, don't get it twisted. I do not feel like Paulo Banquero or Chet Holmgren are not great players. I do feel like they are great players, just not what a Jabari Smith is. He just has no bust to me. Like, there's no way that he can be a bust. I don't see it at all, but y'all let me know how y'all feel about that. And then there's one more team that I feel like did a great job, and it wasn't due to the amount of talent they got, but it was due to the selection that they made. It was the right selection, and that was Sacramento. Now, this is unpopular opinion because a lot of people felt they should have took Jaden Ivey, and I say no, because Jaden Ivey would have did nothing but create an even bigger clog at that guard spot for Sacramento. You already have De'Aaron Fox. You already have Davion Mitchell. They traded Halliburton. We're all upset about it, but the acquisition of Domantas Sabonis, great acquisition, especially if he signs a contract extension. But they picked up Keegan Murray, and that's tremendous for them, man. That's tremendous. Keegan Murray is a great scorer. He's only going to get better, and I feel like Sacramento is going to reap the benefits of this pick, and it's going to be one of those picks that's like immediate impact. I feel Keegan Murray changes that culture with the scoring ability that he brings. You got the rebounding and Domantas Sabonis, a walking double-double. You got the ability to control the pace in De'Aaron Fox. You got the defensive-minded guard coming off the bench who also controls pace in Davion Mitchell. And you can also move him to that two-guard spot in a starting lineup alongside Keegan Murray. And it makes the starting five look a lot better, man. So I feel as though Sac did a great job with this one. Now, will they stay on pace? We do not know. Sac has a tendency to just go completely off course and not really have no true path as to what they're trying to do with the overall franchise. But, I mean, this is a step in the right direction, in my opinion. And I feel like, man, they are also a winner in this draft in their own way. Now, were they better than the Orlando? I would say not. Were they better than the Pelicans? I would say not, because I like the Dyson Daniels pick by New Orleans. That was a great pick for them, man. They already have a stockpile of talent, and it's going to be great to see what New Orleans does in the future. But yeah, it was a lot of teams that were clearly better than them from a overall pick standpoint, but just for a fit for the franchise and a new direction, in my opinion, because this gives them an identity. I feel like the Keegan Murray pick gives them an identity. It allows those pieces to play their role. It allows De'Aaron Fox to be more of a facilitator. It allows him to be more of his natural floor general type of self. It allows Sabonis to be more of a rebounder, more of a low block type of player. And it allows, everybody to play their positions, man. Keegan is going to come in and take over that scoring role and be, maybe the second leading scorer behind De'Aaron Fox, man, and just give everybody a load off, man. So I really like the pick. Y'all let me know how y'all feel. Those were my winners from the 2022 first round. And when this draft is completely over, we'll go ahead and give the full analysis. But yeah, man, y'all let me know how y'all feel about this one. And with that being said, peace and blessings, kings and queens. I'm out. Believe it up.